Coffin Dance, like Zico said, this is a team that's full of surprises. They've been making kind of an unorthodox composition work. Are we? Okay, we're not. I was going to say, are we seeing double Resto Shaman in this matchup? But no, it is going to be Looney actually on the Mystery Ramon and Ziba on the Elemental Shaman. So a bit of an interesting pick here from Wildcard Gaming. Coffin Dance, let's see if they can, if they're up for the challenge.
Well, Coffin Dance has been running down Holy Paladin Wizard Cleave, so I think Looney is just picking the Mistfavor because he doesn't want that to be an option. Curious to see if it can keep up with the damage output, though, or even if he can survive if he ends up being the target. He's moving in for crowd control. Triple lockdown by Wildcard Gaming. Beautiful setup here on the trend. Blur might not be enough. He's on 10% in game one. It gets closed out immediately. Wildcard Gaming take it. I mean, what was that? 30 seconds, man. Coffin Dance were not ready.
That pains me a little bit because we see Coffin Dance. One of the things that's so special about their team is that they have basically perfect defensive cooldown rotation. But Wildcard Gaming, they came in with a plan, and I really think that kind of threw them for a loop. I do not think Coffin Dance was prepared for this composition, and it kind of showed in game number one where they fumbled over the defenses. Who's going to trinket? Who's going to use darkness? Like, how afraid are we? They really had no idea, which is one of the first times we've really seen that from them.
Yeah, I mean, we can literally see the entire game here, see exactly what happened. So Maro goes for the sheep, he gets kicked, he gets a no onto Lontar, and then he gets a sheep onto Rezus. Greater Pyroblast gets interrupted here. Tren is going berserk here onto Maro, and there it is. Looney goes in, incap into Song of GG, Lightning Lasso, Meteor Combust, and big dam coming in here into the Dragon's Breath, I think, onto Tren, if I'm not mistaken here. More Pyros. I think there is the Dragon's Breath, and there it is. Lontar trinkets, and he gets immediately leg swept on his trinket as well. Trinketed a little too late regardless, but even if he did trinket, Looney was just standing on top of him waiting to leg sweep it. So not much Lontar could have done in that situation. I think Tren had to just respect the cooldowns there and trade earlier.
All right, well, Wildcard taking that first game victory here in just about 30 seconds. Super quick game number one here. What does Coffin Dance need to do, Supatees, if they want to avoid that super strong opener on the from Wildcard, if they just want to maybe last longer than 30 seconds?
The major weakness of the Demon Hunter is getting locked down in stuns, and that's exactly what Wildcard Gaming did. They crowd controlled all three members. No one could trade cooldown. So if crowd control is landed onto all three members at the same time in a matchup like this, somebody has to use Gladiator's Medallion to get out of crowd control. Otherwise, you're accessing your cooldowns to reduce damage far too late. You're just going to die through them. And I mean, Tren did die through them. So at the start of this game, it needed to be Tren's Trinket and Blur immediately on the Lightning Lasso. He tried to intercept with a double stun before the lockdown happened, but a revival from Looney removed both stuns, so maybe he wasn't ready for it 100%. But if your entire team is crowd controlled and it's burst damage like Lightning Lasso and Combustion, you trinket Blur instantly, or trinket Link, but usually obviously you'd want to trinket Link last, so it was just a little bit of a unresponsive start. I think now moving into game two that having seen that strategy, they're going to last longer than 30 seconds.
One can only hope. We are going to be going to Dalaran Sewers. That was the map choice of Coffin Dance, as they did lose game number one. Pretty quick draft process so far. 10 seconds on the board for Wildcard to choose their comp going into game number two. Given that Coffin Dance likely to play the same composition that we've been seeing, how do we feel like this game is going to be different from game number one here, Zico?
Well, I think a big thing for Coffin Dance's comp, I mean, regardless of, we always talk about melee cleave versus wizard cleave and on the small map, and how it helps the melee cleave actually get in and get out. But I think a very important thing is, specifically when you're playing, the Demon Hunter and the Shaman, is that you're relying a lot on the Demon Hunter to kind of make his way to the Shaman, use that reverse magic, and then quickly make his way back into the fight. And I think that's one thing that they couldn't really do on that previous map, because Lontar was behind the pillar and Tren was kind of stuck in the open. But on this map, if Lontar is behind the pillar, behind the box there, well, Tren is still going to be, in range to just dash over there quickly and get him out of crowd control. So I'm expecting to see a little bit more usage of the reverse magic. And then also Ring of Peace is a bit better on this map as well.
And what do we want to see Wildcard do to adjust to the different positioning here on Dollar and Sewers if they want to sort of hold off that pressure coming from Coffin Dance that Zico just described, Ben?
I mean, for Wildcard Gaming, this matchup is just all about these kind of rinse-repeat setups where they find someone in a lightning lasso and kind of a 3 versus 1 where they get cross crowd control on the other two. I think Wildcard Gaming, as long as they can initiate that on diminishing return, they're consistently getting those setups off. Eventually, there will be overlap, and eventually someone from Coffin Dance will go down. So Coffin Dance, they have to be very disruptive. They have to make sure at least one of them is free, or they have to do a really good job rotating through their Gladiators Medallion. I think that is key, because if Rezus had used his Gladiators Medallion or Trend had used his Gladiators Medallion, it would have been a completely different game. And I think Coffin Dance can bring this game into deep dampening, and that is when their composition is going to start edging out a lead against Looney on that Mistweaver Monk. So we'll see. Wildcard Gaming looking for the setups. Coffin Dance looking to deny, but game number 2, let's see if it lasts a little bit longer than that game number 1.
All right, Looney's moving in across midfield to get on top of Lone Tar. They need to get ready. Looney gets intercepted by Imprisoned. Lone Tar moves to midfield, setting up for big burst damage on Maro with that guidance device, but Maro temporal shielded most of that damage, so he's not going to take any pressure as a result, and now they can turn it around. Lone Tar is in midfield, drops an Earthen Wall Totem, anticipating crowd control. Wildcard Gaming, they're patient. They're just going to wait. They stun up, double stun, paralyze. Beautiful combo by Looney right here to isolate Trend, but it's not enough crowd control, and Trend is just chasing down the target. You see when a Demon Hunter's not in crowd control, he's at full HP, using Leech Healing and Blur, and very stable. So as long as they're on top of that lockdown with crowd control, they're going to be very durable. Small map means they get onto their target quite easily. Zipa is actually playing Traveling Storm, so he can cast Thunderstorm on a partner. He's knocked Trend and Rezus down, but Demon Hunter's Windwalker's so mobile that knockback not really phasing them too much. They get right back onto Maro.
Yeah, and we're going to see Maro now looking for some crowd control, gets shut down. And once again, just going to be swapping between those Greater Pyroblast and Polymorph Spam. He goes for the Blink Sheep right there, doesn't get it in time, and now he finally does. Trend is there though, should be able to reverse that, and he will. And Rezus was the target of choice there, but they didn't actually get any cooldowns there. So right now, Coffin Dance are doing exactly what they want to. They're just shutting down the mage, getting a lot of damage, and there it is. This could be a big push here. Potential for double dress. Maro realizing the situation, using that temporal shield, and he should be able to stabilize it once again. And at this point, Zipa is just trying to keep Maro alive, load up big damage with that Stormkeeper, and now they're looking to counter pressure. Looney's pushing in. There it is. Song of GG potentially getting casted out. Rezus taking a huge chunk of damage right now. Karma and the Fortifying Group being traded out here in that CC chain, and they get a lot of value there. So if they can do that a couple of more times, Rezus definitely could be an exposed target moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there really is no question about it. And that's what I'm talking about. Wildcard Gaming, as long as they're getting these consistent setups up, things are looking good. Lone Tar grounds a Greater Power Blast. A full Ring of Frost lands. Now it could be Rezus in trouble, but they're just going for it. Pressure on Maro. Rezus actually using his portal, his Transcendence, to get away. So he's out of line of sight, but he's by himself and isolated. He needs to be very careful. Lone Tar does reconnect, get some heals off. I think he's actually playing the Concentrated Flame as well. So a little bit of instant healing and instant damage when Lone Tar needs it. It's something he plays quite often. That isn't something normally we do see. I'm going to just double check that he actually is running it. And he actually is running the Crucible of Flame. So having that as instant cast damage as well as instant cast healing is something that has worked out quite well for him on that Restoration Shaman.
Double stun lock, pushing on to Maro. Temporal shield at 50%. Is it going to be enough? Looks like it is. Looney and Maro recovering. Polymorph on Trent. They're going to swap to Lone Tar, and he's back at the pillar. Lightning Lasso on Rezus. Disrupted by Trent. Nice interrupt there. Lone Tar still in crowd control, though. Rezus, he trades Diffuse. He's down at half. Gets knocked off the side. Flying Serpent kicks right back on a target. Zipai goes for a Hex. On diminishing return. Not too much value. Touch of Death is rolling. They're really trying to push and power down Maro with this cooldown. But they're not even denting his health bar. Touch of Death explodes, but Looney's in position to recover from it quite easily. Triple Dragon's Breath. No crowd control found off the back of it. Earthen Wall Totem available. Double crowd control initiated by Coffin Dance, pushing for a Cauterize on Maro. Cap Totem out. Nice timing into the Fell Eruption, but not enough damage to take down Maro. Looney going to use Fort Brew to actually buff his Life Cocoon on Maro, valuing the cooldowns on Maro and his mana for later in the match, as Looney expects this to potentially go to dampening. Rolls in for a double Song of GG's, going for it. Lands the double Lightning Lasso on Rezus. Beautiful crowd control by Looney here. Karma trades out. Can they crack the Karma in time? Zipai is in position to do some damage, but doesn't look like they have enough to crack it. Lone Tar comes out of the Hex. tossing out some Riptides, looking to power through. Double stun locked by Coffin Dance. Turn around. Temporal by Morrow, timed well. Looks like it's going to trade here. Recovering back to full. His Glider's Medallion traded for the Metamorphosis of Tren. These Ring of Peace try and bounce Morrow off the side. Find some pressure. Zeepai just loading up with the Stormkeeper. Not denting anybody with it, unfortunately. Morrow still down at half. Drops a Ring of Frost defensively, blinks in, maybe trying to get to Polymorph on Lone Tar, but Lone Tar is at the pillar line of sighting. Morrow moves very far away from Looney. Looney tries to reposition. Looney's getting on top of Lone Tar. Lone Tar realizes that, gets on top of his team and drops the Earthen Wall Totem, anticipating the crowd control. But Wildcard Gaming are patient. They're holding on to it, waiting for the perfect moment.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of patience here, but so far, no one really trading out any big cooldowns except for Rezus. Still doesn't have any defensives, except for that diffuse magic. So I do think he's going to be able to buy enough time to get that karma back, and then hopefully that should give him enough time to rotate back on that fourth brew. And if Rezus can keep rotating through his defensives, he should be in a pretty good spot as long as he remembers to put his port down as well in a safe location. Now he takes that big Earth Shock and Looney's pushing in. Song of GG. He gets incapped on it. Looney gonna get the leg sweep and potentially go for it once again, and he lands it. Tren now the target of choice here, but they break out the Stormkeeper, the Lightning Lasso there, sorry, with the interrupt, and they are going to be able to stay alive for now. Now, once again, Morrow in trouble, getting stunned up. No Drestigath being used just yet. Morrow just tanking them out here, wearing that full Versa set, just looking for crowd control. And this is a back and forth, you know, Rezus and Trent trying to set up a imprisonment on the healer into a stun on Morrow into a double dress kill. And on the side of Wildcard, they're just trying to get that Song of GG again and try to blow somebody up in the Lightning Lasso. So far, both teams playing to their win conditions, and no one really with a massive edge.
No, not really. I mean, the only edge I can see is just mana. Lone Tar way behind on mana at this point of the game, 7% dampening. Let's see if Looney can keep it up. And Coffin Dance just going to continue this pain train on tomorrow on this game, but he's been able to kind of deal with it quite nicely. No Cauterize being forced, no Ice Block. That is going to be the Trinket. Tomorrow using Trinket Temporal Shield, looking to deny this go. Is big damage available by Tren and Rezus, and it looks like more than enough for him to hold on. Ring of Frost being dropped down. Lone Tar throwing in some additional damage with that Crucible of Flame. And actually now Rezus, who could be in a little bit of trouble. The Fortifying Brew comes in. Lone Tar in crowd control, but Looney gets shut down. Nicely done there by Tren, getting the double Chaos Nova and denying Looney that Song of Chi-Ji. And now Rezus is going to get topped off, but he did trade out a lot of his defensive cooldown, so no Fortifying Brew, no Touch of Karma. The Coffin Dance looks to continue this assault on tomorrow.
All right, let's see if they can stay on target here. Paralyzed on Looney. Good setup so far. Is there a Cap Totem? Doesn't look like it. Morrow gets knocked off the side. How's he going to deal with this? Tren trying to get in. Looney repositions. Morrow interrupted. That knockback had a lot of value. Looney had the Life Cocoon as a result of that reposition. Rezus still the target. Diffuse Magic available. Looney and a Poly. Reverse is available. Can Tren? Yeah, he gets there just in time. Reverses the Polymorph. Now they're stable to get back on tomorrow. Lone Tar needs to be very careful with how he spends his mana. Purge is definitely important, but they really need to pick their moment. They've got Imprison on Looney, Stun on Morrow, Temporal Shield active. Are they going to go for the Purges on it? I don't think it's worth it at this point. It's too much mana. Looks like Lone Tar went for it, though. Does manage to remove it. Storm, Earth, and Fire active. Rezus really trying to tear in. Triple crowd control. This is the danger time for Coffin Dance. Who's going to trade? Looks like it's not enough crowd control. Rezus breaks out. Diffuse trades. Now going after Morrow. Lone Tar actually still caught in a leg sweep by Looney. Looney's picking up Morrow in midfield. Rezus is starting slowly but surely recover. 20% dampening between these teams. Coffin Dance really can't afford to lose on their map picks, as Wildcard Gaming with those Wizard Cleave compositions are going to be so powerful on Toveron and Asha mains. They need to keep it together. So far, they've had solid defense. If they can keep this up, I do see them overwhelming Morrow deeper into dampening.
Yeah, and that was a nice Traveling Storms there by Zeepai. He's kind of saving it for the Fist of Fury. Now he gets a Hex into a Lightning Lasso. Rezus interrupting that Lightning Lasso right there. Trent's going to trade the Blur. And now Touch of Death active here on tomorrow. Where is the damage Rezus? He's pushing in here. Can he get any crowd control? Preemptive Life Cocoon there from Looney right before he gets imprisoned. And Morrow is going to be at full HP from that. That's a very, very nice play there by Looney, but he's still taking a lot of damage here in Morrow, and now there's no Life Cocoon. Looney's going to have to expose himself, channeling out a few Soothing Mists, trying to top off his mage, and he's going to be able to do it. And now they're pushing in for crowd control. Combust gets ripped out. Big damage here onto Trent. Trent's going to trinket, use darkness right away, and they get a follow-up sheep here as well onto Lontar. Can they force anything else? Double leg sweep coming out. Trent might actually get the Spirit Link totem here if they have any more crowd control. And there it is, Trinket Spirit Link coming out from Lontar. So double Trinket traded here from Coffin, Spirit Link, as well as the Blur and the Darkness. So now there is a wide kill shot here for Wildcard Gaming. They could kill Lontar 100-0, they can kill Tren 100-0. They just need to pick their target and execute a clean setup.
Yeah, let's see if they can last that long. Once again, it's a 3 versus 1. Hex on Lontar, Polymorph on Rezus, and Trent caught into the Lightning Lasso, but not really going to net too much damage. Wildcard Gaming just doing those consistent setups, but without the burst damage to back it up, they're not going to be able to really push through at this point. But dampening is getting higher, 30% dampening at this point, and like you mentioned, Zico, I mean, Trent, at this point, he doesn't really have too much defense he can work with. I mean, one nice setup, one combustion coming in from Morrow, I think it's going to be lights out for Trent. Rezu's going to have to be MVP, using his Gladiator's Medallion to break up the crowd control with Paralyze, as well as that Ring of Peace. I think if Rezu's can do that, then Coffin Dance can stay in this game. But definitely some tense moments coming up here relatively soon. Going after Morrow, Big Fist of Fury. Dragon's Breath shuts that down. Nicely done there by Morrow. Paralyzed now into GG. Big setup once again onto Trent, but do they have the damage to back it up? It doesn't look like it. I mean, they get the crowd control, but there's just no damage on Trent. He gets the blur off with the reverse magic, and Coffin Dance holds on.
It was a nice pre-blur. It was the only way that Trent was going to survive that setup. So he anticipated the stun, activated defensive cooldowns prior to it, and negated the amount of damage that would have otherwise been lethal. Solid play in the heads of Wildcard Gaming here. Can Coffin Dance keep it going? Mana looking tight here. Looney's on top of Lontar. He's ready. He rolls in. Lontar line of sight some. Gets caught in the stun. Triple stun lock once again. No blur available for this one. Polymorph has landed. No reverse. Trent Metamorphosis back over to his healer, but there's nothing to get him out of the Polymorph. He's just taking a beating. He's trying to vengeful retreat and interrupt the chain, but now, oh no, the grapple weapon. He can't leech heal without his weapon equipped. He has to duck behind the corner. Lontar's out of crowd control, pulling Trent back into the fight. Very close call there for Trent at 38% dampening. You've been battling it out for this long. You don't want it to be all gone and for nothing. 11.5 minutes in at this point. Can they keep it going, though? Because we've not seen really any pressure, at least not enough to get a cauterizer and ice block, and Looney's chilling on mana, quite literally at full at this point, 40% dampening. Coffin Dance, they need to clean up their offense.
Yeah, but it's not that easy to take down a full Versa Fire Mage here, especially not one that's backed up by Looney and Zeepai. But here we go, setup coming in from both teams. Who's going to trade first? Lightning Lasso gets paralyzed there by Rezus. Nicely done. Looney's pushing in now for the leg sweep into the Song of GG here. And now Trent, what are you going to do? He gets stunned by the pet of Zeepai. He leaps in for the reverse magic. Doesn't need to use it just yet. He had to trade the Blur there and Lontar's Trinket. Doesn't have his Trinket for that Trinket Spirit Link, but Trent has his Trinket and that Darkness. So on the side of Coffin Dance, they do have some defense. Mana is the big story here for them. Once again, grapple weapon coming out. Nice life cocoon there by Looney. And that life cocoon, even at 44% dampening, is a full-on lay on hands here. And he didn't even need to use the Fort Brew to even enhance it further. So nicely done there by Looney. He's going to have that as well for the next life cocoon if he needs it. He's chasing Lontar. Goes for the Song of GG here. He's going to get it. Trent, preemptive Darkness here. Actually, had to use Trinket and Darkness. He gets knocked out of his Darkness by Zeepai, but I don't think he's going to die here. He's ducking away from the Greater Pyroblast, and it looks like Trent is going to survive there. But now, once again, nobody on Coffin Dance has any breakers. No, none of those Gladiators medallions. Next time anybody gets CC'd, it's preemptive cooldown usage or death.
And there is combustion available for Morrow as well, so very tense moment here for Coffin Dance. Let's see if they're going to be able to hold on, if they can push, get some cooldowns. A triple leg sweep into a full polymorph. Uh-oh, big damage. Hex out onto Lontar. Trent, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to reverse magic that Hex, but with the line of sight, it looks like he will be able to hold on. I mean, that was such a nice setup there by Wildcard Gaming. The triple leg sweep into a full Hex onto Lontar, but just by Trent getting out of line of sight, Morrow wasn't able to capitalize, and now they're actually reversing the damage, and this is where it becomes really difficult. You can see Looney, he's already traded out his Gladiator's Medallion. He's burning through a lot of that mana he's saved up in this match, and I think as long as Lontar can hold on to a little bit of mana, throw in a little bit of purges, I think Morrow could start being on the back foot in this match.
I mean, it's still looking dicey here. No Gladiator's Medallions for 45 seconds. Karma just had to be traded. Oh, but they got Elias Medallion from Looney. Maybe there's potential. Triple stun. Beautiful by Tren here. But Lontar's in a Hex. Oh no, Tren's been isolated. He reverses, but what? He just reverses an Ignite. It's a Hex. It's a curse. It can't be reversed. They knock Tren off the side. Tren tries to jump back upstairs. They've got Spirit Link Totem. They've got Trinket. Trinket, where's the Spirit Link? He grounds. He's trying to get in line of sight. He's trying to greed the Spirit Link. Looks like he's going to get away with the greed here. Chain Heal behind the pillar. You can tell that these teams, man, things are starting to fall apart. Huge damage out of nowhere. Zeepai's like, oh yeah, that was gonna happen. I knew that was happening all along. Rezus just gets deleted out of nowhere right after Confidence were looking like they were gonna recover.
Yeah, Rezus just walked into a Greater Pyroblast. There was no stops for Morrow, and it was just Greater Pyroblast, Sky Fury, Earthshock, dead. And I don't think Rezus expected that at all. I mean, the entire game, they're going after Tren. Tren barely surviving, backflipping out of line of sight, doing everything he can the entire game, for the better part of, 10 minutes? And then Rezus just gets slapped in the face with the Greater Pyroblast Earthshock and dies instantly. So, I mean, that is definitely the scary thing about going up against a Fire Mage Elemental Shaman, is that burst damage potential is extremely high. And now Wildcard Gaming is in a commanding position.
Yeah, and we can see a couple of last seconds of the game here. Lontar Trinkets out of that leg sweep. And at this point, Rezus traded out his Diffuse Magic as well as his Karma a little bit earlier. And now he's got his Fort Brew rotating back up, so he thinks he's safe. But Greater Pyroblast, Earthshock, boom. He is gone.
Man.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to be a victory number 2 here for Wildcard. Anything interesting to note for the match results, Ben?
Nah, I wouldn't say so. I mean, lots of purges coming in from Zeepai, lots of damage coming in from Zeepai. I mean, Zeepai is basically free the entire game, so him getting in a lot of pressure and a lot of disruption and interrupts and stuff is obviously going to be really, really important in this match. Morrow initiated a lot of crowd control. You can see CC Inflicted with Dragon's Breath primarily probably in this match. But yeah, Wildcard Gaming, it was just eventually finding that window is almost a 15-minute long game, 57% dampening, and that's a really difficult spot for Lontar, Rezus, and Tren to be in, because they actually played really, I think they played relatively well for most of the game. I mean, defensively, it's not easy to live against a team like Wildcard Gaming, but they managed to do it. Just super unfortunate that the setup they lost in, there was no crowd control. It was just kind of, it was a little bit random, just take advantage of the situation, and that's something Wildcard Gaming does quite nicely.
So you think then, Ben, for game number 3 in the rest of this series, that Confidence could potentially turn it around here?
It's possible. Is it unlikely? Yeah, it's pretty unlikely, but it is possible. I mean, there's been kind of signs of hope. I mean, the thing is, in that game, they didn't get cauterized, they didn't get ice blocked, so they really have to work for that 60+% dampening to push through the healing of the Mistweaver. Yeah, on their best map, they didn't get ice blocked.
Looney was full mana. There's no
Well,
way.
they actually got to the point at 50% dampening, he has to start using a little bit of mana. So once healing is reduced by 50% plus Rising Sun Kick, Mortal Wounds, then he has to start using mana. I was actually looking. I don't even know if Looney, I don't think he was playing Memory of Lucid Dreams either. He was playing Conflict and Strife. So lots of mana regeneration coming in from Looney, very efficient healing. But it's just kind of the nature of this matchup. We are going to be going to Hook Point, which is kind of expected. I think for Coffin Dance, picking something like Tolvaron or Ashamanes is just completely out of the question. But they're burning through these small maps. And I mean, even if they do win here against Wildcard Gaming, we are going to a large map. And that is when Coffin Dance is going to be truly be tested.
Yeah, we'll have to see here what Coffin Dance has in mind. Wildcard Gaming, a minute left to choose their composition. Hook Point, as you said, Ben, will be the map here. I mean, it just sounds like, based off what you guys were saying, there wasn't really much that Coffin Dance could have done to prevent that last win there on Dalaran. It was kind of random, as you guys were saying. So then, is there really many things that they could do differently here on this next map, Sid?
I'm wondering if they're going to be more aggressive and actually go after Looney, because I feel like in those Wizard matchups, when Looney was a Paladin, they were attacking him. Windwalker Demon Hunter can definitely go after a Mistweaver. If Morrow's running full versatility, his greater powers are really slow, and they've got a Shaman, so they should be able to stop the Mage even without attacking the Mage. So maybe just showing some flexibility in their targeting might be something Coffin Dance can look to adapt to here on Hook Point. It would be a solid map to kill a Mistweaver.
And then on the side of Wildcard Gaming as well, you know, they did pretty well there on Dalaran. Now we're going to Hook Point. How do we feel like positioning for this composition is going to be on this map, Zico?
It's going to be Wildcard Gaming and Looney staying as far back as possible whenever paralyzes on cooldown. Whenever it's off cooldown, Looney's going to look to push in, get those songs of GG, and they're going to look to set up out of that. So for the Wizards, they want to stay away and then just kind of do hit and runs. And for the melee team, they want to survive the hit and runs and then do their own hit and runs. Like both teams are basically playing a hit and run strategy, but I don't know. Maybe Coffin should play Spite. Like, I don't know. I think Windwalker has a decent amount of lockdown. They can get a Spite onto maybe Morrow. They could actually have enough damage to kill him because right now Morrow is a tank. He is playing maxed out Versa. He's playing Battle Master. He's playing all that good stuff. So I think taking down Morrow without a Spite before, I want to say, what did you say, Van? 50% dampening to use mana? I would say 65% dampening for Morrow is taking lethal damage where he feels threatened. So I would say maybe a Spite to accelerate things could work on this map, but it's tough for Coffin, that's for sure.
Okay, game starting soon here. 2-0. Coffin Dance needs to win this next game. This is a best of 5. As you guys mentioned, they're burning through their smaller maps here. So even if they do win this one, it's going to be a super difficult turnaround for Coffin Dance. It is Wildcard Gaming versus Coffin Dance, game number 3.
I think the other thing too is Diabolus could play the same comp Wildcard Gaming is playing. So if Coffin Dance lose here and have to face the same matchup again, if anything, Coffin Dance need to learn as much as possible in this matchup because they could be facing it again in the lower bracket. Gates are going to open. Let's see how they decide to play it out here. Is it going to be aggression? Are they going to try and go after Looney? Is it going to be just a solid defense standard game after the Mage? So far on the Mage, but Looney's moving in. Aggressive, right on top of Lone Tar, ready to engage in crowd control, waiting for the perfect moment. Hex being casted off the Dragon's Breath, triple crowd control, but they're playing Spites. They're trying to go after Lone Tar in the Spites here. Is he going to get overwhelmed? He's locked down in a Lightning Lasso. Ghost Wolf off to the side. Looks like he's going to be okay. And once again, Coffin Dance targeting Morrow. Temporal Shield down at half. Looney gets wind sheared by Lone Tar, trying to put him behind. Crucible Flame damage coming out. They got Gladius Medallion from Looney as well as Morrow. So there's some promise here for Coffin Dance in Game 3.
Yeah, and that was actually Wildcard running the Spite, so we're going to see if they can potentially set that up a little bit later. Right now, Morrow, though, taking a lot of pressure, but once again, Looney with the pre-life cocoon on the touch of death, and now Rezu's in big trouble. Pre-Fort Brew, though, so he should be completely fine here. He gets the Karma off as well because he got that Fort Brew onto that Greater Pyro, and Rezu's, he's been playing great so far, but still needs to find some kind of pressure here onto Morrow. Morrow's just really not taking any damage, and those Spites are coming off cooldown. You see Morrow's trying to set up a double ring of Frost here, trying to get a sheep onto Lontar and trying to secure the potential kill here. They could go after Rezus, or they could go after Lontar. They're going to go after Rezus. He just ports out of that Spite right away, and there's one Spite on Lontar and one Spite on Rezus, kind of making an 8 there on the ground. Not sure if that was the move right there, but it looked like some members wanted to go after the healer, some members wanted to go after the Windwalker, and kind of just fumbled on the setup. It happens. And now Looney's in a wind shear. Morrow, for the first time, having to activate his Battle Master Trinket right there. Still taking a lot of damage from those slapper procs by Tran, but it looks like Morrow is going to recover here. And once again, they're going to look to get the next setup. Full Hex secure. Rezus immediately trading that Diffuse Magic.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with Wildcard Gaming running Spite. So far, it hasn't worked out too well for them, but they're going after Rezus. He's got no touch of Karma, no Diffuse Magic. It will be Lone Tar that keeps him alive, or it's actually Tren who drops the Darkness. So Coffin Dance using the defensive cooldowns, but it seems like Wildcard Gaming is almost distracted by the fact that they're using Spites. And I don't know, the setups just haven't been clean so far at all. And it actually, their first setup cost the Trinket of Morrow and Looney. They tried to get aggressive with their Gladiator's Medallion, and I don't know if that really plays into the strength of their composition against Coffin Dance, but I do appreciate that they're trying to mix it up on the smaller map, going for Song of GG onto Lone Tar. That might work. I mean, if they can get one clean setup, Lone Tar could be in a lot of trouble right now. Big burst damage, Lightning Lasso out of the leg sweep. Lone Tar, how is he going to be able to survive? It will be the Astral Shift, but he held onto his Trinket. So, I mean, these setups on Lone Tar, they're a little bit scary, but so far Lone Tar hasn't even had to use his Gladiator's Medallion in order to survive them.
Oh, double setup here by Coffin Dance. Morrow, can they get cauterized for the first time here in the series? No, Life Cocoon comes in clutch, stabilizing Morrow here. Rezu's still trying to just power through it. They actually break Life Cocoon. Pretty astounding amount of pressure there. Rezu's relaying his port on the side pillar. Lontar trying to get into next to it so that Rezus can port to him. Good reposition here by Coffin Dance. Zeepai's looking for Hex. Lontar line of sights. Rezus has to trade Karma though, just through the passive pressure of Wildcard Gaming. That's not looking too good. Good crowd control again by Coffin Dance here. They try and turn it around with a double Dragon's Breath, but Morrow's hovering very low on health. Looney recovering, and he's always so efficient, not spending nearly any mana despite Morrow being so low on health here. Rezus now in trouble. Wind Shear can't defuse. 2 more seconds. Lontar in a Hex. 1 more second on match point. Lightning Lasso is ticking. Trend disrupts it with the Feller option. Lontar is still in a Hex, but not enough damage. Rezus holds on.
Coffin Dance are looking like their regular selves right now. They swapped to... The adaptation they made wasn't the spites. They went full gushing, more or less, and those Lash of the Void procs. And you can tell Morrow's taking a lot more damage when that is in play. Looney getting wind sheared. They might actually get the cauterize here because of that. But no, it looks like Morrow is going to stabilize here. Looney casting out some heals. Now pushing in for crowd control. Gets shut down midway. Lontar, what are you going to do here? Drops the Earthen Wall Totem right before the setup, but he drops it onto the DPS, and now Rezus has to trinket to drop a Ring of Peace to break up the chain and to paralyze Looney there. So Rezus trinketing to save Lontar's trinket. I don't know if that's going to work out for him, but that was the trade that they made. Lontar's going to have to trinket Spirit Link to save Rezus potentially. Morrow now taking fat damage here once again, and honestly, these guys playing the gushing build with the Lash of the Void. It's I think that's the move, because so far they actually have had pressure, and I think if they just try to play Max Versa and play a long game, it plays into the favor of Wildcard Gaming. So I like the adaptation here. I like the aggression. Let's see if it works out for Coffin Dance.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, if you're not getting Ice Block at 60% dampening, you're probably not going to get it. Now, Morrow taking a big hit of damage once again. Rezus and Trend all over him once again with that gushing really ripping in. And finally, they get the Ice Block just 5 minutes into the game. The small map, the adaptations from Coffin Dance. Now, after going after Zeepai, the pressure is just completely different coming in from Coffin Dance. This is a great adaptation. I think like Wildcard Gaming, they also kind of distracted themselves as well, running this Spike Trinket. So, unfortunately, it hasn't been working out for them so far, but that's not to say that it won't work out. And Lontar's mana is actually not looking good as well. We've seen Shaman sustain for quite some time. They're actually using the Spike Trinket defensively now, just throwing it on Morrow, trying to slow down Trend and Rezus the best they can, but it seems like Trend and Rezus are able to avoid it, and they can kind of continue this push on Morrow.
No Ice Block for 4 minutes. Cauterize the next major objective here for Coffin Dance. Almost 6 minutes in. Can they get through all that defense with only 10% remaining mana is the question here. Rezus getting zapped up. A Thing from Beyond. He tries to port away from it, but I think it's still going to connect. He actually karmas the Thing from Beyond and tries to redirect that damage to Morrow to push for a Cauterize. Very aggressive move by Rezus. Is it going to work out? It's getting very close to working out. Temporal Shield along with Life Cocoon on those final seconds. Now Rezus getting turned around. 1 more second left on that Lightning Lasso. Diffuse Magic. Lontar still, he Trinket Spirit Links. I didn't feel like that was 100% necessary. It feels like that was more of a panic. They've still got Darkness available for Trend, but Rezus is just dying. He doesn't want to get erased out of nowhere like game number 2, but they're in the position where Lontar's just out of mana. He can't really heal anymore at 10% dampening. Trying to bomb in some healing waves. He's afraid of maybe getting counterspelled, though, so he's not opening up his school just yet. Trend jumps in with Metamorphosis, really trying to power through here when there's no Life Cocoon. They need to get on target, but their defense is so limited, it's going to be a big risk. They drop a Spite defensively on Morrow. Are they going to just go through the Spite and risk the Corruption stacks? It looks like they're trying to edge the Spite and go after Morrow here, but they're not finding enough damage. Rezus trinkets out of the lasso, pops Fort Brew, but he's still very low, portaling back to the pillar. But Lontar got left behind. Lontar is stunned up very far away from Rezus. Trend and a Poly. And Lontar's in a full Song of GG. That's probably it. They drop Darkness on 10%. Is there a Ring of Peace to knock Rezus out? They're spiting the Darkness to try and overload Rezus' Corruption. He has to abandon the Darkness, get back to the fence in line of sight of Lontar. And I think Looney just sat down and drank the full mana just to make sure that his team was absolutely going to be guaranteeing the late game. This is devastating for Coffin Dance.
And then he's like, yep, I've done my part. I've pressed Paralyze. I've pressed Light Cocoon. I've pressed everything I need to do. And now I'm going to drink. And right now, it's looking like Rezus is getting blasted here. He has Touch of Karma. He might need to use it on this Greater Pyro, and he will. Morrow now in trouble. Let's see, can he get something on Looney? There's a 25-second window. Looney, no trinket. All they need to worry about is that Cauterize and try to push Morrow over the edge. Can they do it? But Looney's been so good with those preemptive life cocoons as well. Let's see what they can get done here. And there it is. Wind shear into a stun onto Looney, into a preemptive life cocoon once again. So that setup is going to be botched. Morrow now rolling in for a Greater Pyroblast. Gets it, and now Ring of Frost being casted out defensively here by Morrow. Just looking again to set something up here. Rezus has his diffuse magic. He's feeling relatively safe, but Song of GG being casted out. Rezus paralyzes it. Looney actually trinkets and gets a double sweep, and that could just be the game here. If Rezus somehow can hold on, he has the diffuse, he has Fort Brew coming back up, and I can't believe it, but Rezus is going to stay alive, and now Zipai is the one in trouble here. They have so much damage with those gushings. They just need to hit somebody, and they need to do it fast, because right now, Lontar is completely tapped.
Yeah, Coffin Dance, their life in the upper bracket is on the line right now. If they lose this, they are going down to the lower bracket. It will be Wildcard Gaming advancing to play against XZ. So Wildcard Gaming, they're looking good. Mana in their favor. Lontar with no trinket, almost completely out of mana. How is he going to keep his team alive? But they continue to push on tomorrow. Still no ice block for another 10 seconds. Can they push through? Can they get the Cauterize? A full stun comes in. Morrow immediately trinkets into a re-leg sweep. They have a lot of damage out right now. Morrow barely holding on with his Temporal Shield, 26% dampening. Looney burning through that full mana bar really, really quickly in this match, and you can tell just how much more pressure Coffin Dance has, but it is a risky gamble, and now it's going to be Tren on the back foot who gets interrupted. A full stun onto Lontar, and Tren could easily fall in this situation. He's got Blur up. He uses reverse magic as well. Counter pressure, though, on Morrow. Looney's going to have to hold on, but this is such a scary, intense moment in the match.
Spirit Link drops for Lontar here. He doesn't have mana. He needs to trade the cooldown just to stabilize and keep Tren on target, but there's no defense for him. The next crowd control is game over for Coffin Dance on match point. Wildcard Gaming looks stable with Life Cocoon. All they need to do is just get on top and put the last nail in the coffin here. They swap over to Zipai. They're desperate to try and make something happen, mixing up their strategy a bit, but Zipai's not caught off guard. They charge right back on tomorrow. This next Lightning Lasso could be lights out for Tren. Zipai channels out the Stormkeeper. Could be a big hit with the Sky Fury. They need to kill that Sky Fury totem. 2 lightning bolts towards Tren. Tren kills the Sky Fury. Lontar's in a full hex. That's it. Lightning Lasso. Rezus needs to stop it. Rezus instantly stops it with a paralyzed. Beautiful save by Rezus. That was easily going to be Tren's life if not for that paralyze. Now Coffin Dance are getting aggressive with that momentum, trying to push for the Cauterize and Ice Block. Looney gets wind sheared. Lontar is getting spicy here, dropping in some Crucible of Flame hits. Imprison over onto Looney. He trinkets. Still no Life Cocoon for 30 seconds. Stunned on his trinket by Tren. Huge swing of momentum for Coffin Dance, seemingly out of nowhere here. They drop Spite defensively on Morrow. Thing from Beyond spawns on Rezus. He's trying to chase down Morrow, but Lontar in a hex. Lightning Lasso. Lontar trinkets. They stop the Lightning Lasso, and I gotta say, Rezus has been shutting Zipai down on all of these attempts in these final moments. Lontar is so low, though. He's in Ghost Wolf healing up. Tren drops the Darkness. He gets knocked out. He ducks right back into it. Lontar repositions. No mana. Lontar has absolutely no mana. He pops Ascendance and jumps into Ghost Wolf to heal his team. Another defensive Spite down on Morrow with Life Cocoon, but look at the mana of Looney. If Coffin Dance could just hold on a little bit longer, I think they're going to overwhelm Wildcard Gaming.
Yeah, the mana is equalizing very, very quickly. The Monk is just burning through it, but Lontar has 0 left in the tank. Looney, where is he? He was trying to sit down for a drink there, but he does get stopped. Zipai taking massive damage here. Might need to trade something here. I'm not sure if he has anything he can even trade. Looney using his final bit of mana here. They just need uptime onto Zipai. He is the target for sure here. Morrow's full Versa. Morrow has Ice Block. A nice double stun here by Tren. They're looking to push Zipai over the dress connect, but he gets soaked by the pet of Zipai, and Zipai is gonna fall dead right there in game number 3. Coffin Dance puts point on the board.
Wow, what an amazing turnaround by Coffin Dance. It really looked like it was going to be a 3-0. Coffin Dance turning it around, though, especially considering where they were in terms of resources for that last couple of minutes. The immense amount of pressure for Wildcard Gaming coming on to Coffin Dance, and they still turned it around, Zico.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how Lontar did it. He was for the last, I want to say 4 minutes maybe of this game, but somehow he managed to keep his team in the fight. Just good defensive trading, and I think swapping to a full damage build did a lot for Coffin Dance. And obviously, I mean, the map definitely helps as well, but I think they played the game on Dalaran just as well, but they just didn't have any damage really to tax Looney's mana and to get any pressure on anybody really. So it's nice adaptations there by Coffin Dance, but is it repeatable? That is the question.
That certainly is the question here. Not a lot of maps left that would be super beneficial on the side of Coffin Dance, but now it's Wildcard's map choice here. They did just lose that game number 3 here. Coffin Dance needs to win this next one if they want to tie it up here. What exactly were they doing, or what can they do? Let me just, you know what? Here's the replay. Go ahead.
I mean, I like that they swapped to Zeepai. I feel like they were kind of really just tunneled on the mage in most of these games, and I think hitting other targets was really important. Like, if they were attacking Maro here, he still has Cauterize, he still has Ice Block, so I definitely think target swapping towards the end of the match was very important for their victory. However, moving into these games now, where we know it's going to be Tolvaron, we know it's going to be Asha mains, I don't think Lontar can heal his team with 0 mana if there's no pillars nearby, so this is going to be really hard.
Go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say, I think the biggest thing in that matchup for me was Wildcard Gaming made a huge blunder playing Spite. Like, I think it was completely unnecessary. They could have just continued to play the Obsidian Claw. There's a big opportunity cost to giving up that Obsidian Claw. It's not just burst damage. Well, it is for Maro and Zeepai. It's burst damage, you're desyncing Coffin Dance's cooldowns, and I have a feeling that if they had that trinket, there was many times in the game where they could have just won. But at the same time, Looney, he's giving up mana regeneration. So not using the Obsidian Claw, not only does it do damage, but it also regenerates mana for Looney. So might not have actually been in that situation where he was out of mana at that point of the game, and maybe they could have held on a little bit longer. So I think that was an experiment from Wildcard Gaming, but it was a terrible experiment, and I don't expect them to run that again, just because it just didn't work out at all. And I think they actually would have just straight up won the game if they just played the same build they did in game number 1 and 2.
It seems like it's kind of one of those things when you play Spike Trinket, just completely changes your strategy for the game, and it's if you're not used to it, like we saw Wildcard, then it's just going to be detrimental to them, as we saw from that last game. Wildcard Gaming locking in Fire Mage LE once again here on Tolvaron. Coffin Dance is going to have what it seems like is a really hard next game here, Zico.
Yeah, this is definitely the cards stacked against you. If you are Coffin Dance, you're gonna have the worst map in the game, and you're gonna play the same matchup that you barely just won on your best map. So they're gonna have their work cut out for them. But I don't know. I still think there's a chance that they can win if they just stay back and they force kind of Wildcard to try to play on top of them. Try to just be a little bit patient in the start. I don't think that they're going to be able to really land kills before we get, into the at least like 25-30% dampening. I think if you just stay back and you just attack whatever's close to the pillar up until that point, maybe you can make a push, an all-in push like late in dampening, and try to bank a win on that. I'm not sure. I mean, you can see the win ratio right here. In Wildcard Gaming, they don't really lose on this map, so I don't know.
And if that is what they need to do here, Coffin Dance, Supatis, to get to that late dampening stage, what is something that they want to do to prevent those setups from Wildcard Gaming?
Sit on the pillar and just wait around the pillar probably for as long as you can, and Wildcard Gaming will have to decide whether or not they want to push on that pillar or just see what happens in dampening. But if they try and push out into midfield, it will be really difficult for Rezus and Tren to be able to get out of line of sight. So I wouldn't be surprised, although Tren is just charging in, Rezus is as well towards midfield here. They're going to get aggressive. Zeepai is already looking for a Hex. Lontar doesn't get faked out by it, holding onto that grounding totem. Hex attempt number 2. Lontar still holds onto the grounding totem, being super annoying for Zeepai right now. Imprison on Looney, stun on Maro. Lontar's aggressive with the Crucible of Flame. Traveling Storms knocks them away from Maro, but now they reconnect. It did buy time for Temporal Shield, healing Maro back to full. Wildcard Gaming survived the initial assault. Lontar anticipates a counterattack, drops the Earthen Wall, but look, Maro just blinks away from that circle, the Earthen Wall's defense, and now Tren has to leave its defense, but Lontar moves out into midfield, gets caught into a Paralyze. Song of Chi-Ji potentially, stunned up by the leg sweep. Life Cocoon by Looney here. He wants to get aggressive and find crowd control, so he's going to use a defensive cooldown to get aggressive, and now Rezus is in trouble out in midfield. Trades Karma. Fort Brew some very important cooldowns out of the way here for Wildcard Gaming.
Yeah, very nice opener here for Wildcard so far. Coffin Dance, if they're going to stay in, it's going to be expensive. Right now, Touch of Death is rolling on tomorrow. Looney might want to trade his Life Cocoon here. He's trying to heal through it. Actually, Looney doesn't even have Life Cocoon. He's just going to have to power through it. Nice, fat Temporal Shield there by Morrow. He's going to keep him nice and healthy. Alongside with those Soothing Mists, he gets knocked out of the Ring of Frost, but Rezus gets caught up in it. He does get out of there. And now Lontar caught up in a full sheep. Double Dragon's Breath. Pets down onto Rezus into Lightning Lasso. He trinkets. And Tran gets the reverse magic there onto Lontar. Lontar using Ascendance as well. And now both setups here from Wildcard Gaming has been deadly enough to force big cooldowns. If they can get a third one, could be the Trinket Spirit Link. I'm not sure if there's going to be a fourth one after that. Mara right now taking a decent amount of damage still. Zipa's looking for the Hex. Gets it onto Lontar. Rezus now. What are you going to do? Earthen Wall Totem is not going to be enough. He gets Counterspell on the Vivify. Looney's rolling in. Looking for the leg sweep here. He gets the Paralyze. He might get the double leg sweep. And that is going to be good night potentially. No. Trinket, Spirit Link, Darkness. A whole spell book from Coffin Dance has been used. And they still haven't forced a single cooldown. I think if that doesn't tell you to go back to the pillar, I don't know what will.
Oh, well, we'll see. Rezus is at the pillar. Trent is like, you know what? I'm still okay. I've got Blur. I've got Trinket. Backflip.
Nope.
See ya. And he's going to be hiding for a little bit. I think Rezus needs a moment to breathe. Deep breath. Just kind of recover. You know, get the
probably sounds really
cool down.
It's so like he's deep breathing right now.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a panic. Maro looking for actually a Dragon's Breath. Does he find the Polymorph? Unfortunately, not able to find it. On to Lontar, the correct target, as he will just be moving out of line of sight. And now Maro's he's pushed in. He's out of position right now, but you don't really want to blame Wildcard Gaming because they are in the situation where they have all their cooldowns and Coffin Dance has none. So they might be able to just close it out right now. Nice interrupt there by Tren, denying the Lightning Lasso, freeing Rezus, allowing him to get the Fort Brew, the Touch of Karma, now reversing the pressure onto Maro, who's maybe overstayed his welcome, but doesn't look like it. Maro's still looking quite healthy. And Wildcard Gaming appears to be in the driver's seat on this map.
Oh! Big combustion by Maro. Rezus almost not activating Diffuse Magic in time, but does manage to. Stunning up Maro now, trying to push forward. Mana at least full for Lontar, unlike the previous matches he was really struggling. But cooldown-wise, no Darkness, no Spirit Link, no Karma, no Diffuse. You're in a full Hex. Rezus is on the run. Lightning Lasso connects. Oh, Rezus' Trinket just up in time. Line of sighting, paralyzing Maro, healing himself up. Maybe he was taking some deep breaths there because that was very calm, cool, and collected to survive what would have otherwise been his life and an upper bracket opportunity. Lontar still in Dragon's Breath, drops to grounding on the follow-up Polymorph. Looney just chilling out in midfield, channeling Soothing Mist, having the time of his life right now, the exact opposite of what's going on in Lontar's mind, I can imagine. Greater Pyro channeled out, Trend Rezus duck for cover. Looking to try and drag this fight out, wait for their defensive options to become available, having realized they made a pretty big blunder using Darkness and Spirit Link. If they can manage to hold on for another 50 seconds, they'll get those precious cooldowns back. It's up to Wildcard Gaming if they want to make a push during that 50-second window.
I think knowing Wildcard Gaming and how they played this match, I think it's safe to bet that they will. But Trent this time around actually stops Looney in his tracks. He gets paralyzed and Trent just stuns him with that Fell Eruption on the paralyzed, denies the Song of Chi-Ji. And now once again, Coffin Dance dancing around the pillar here, dancing with Zipai. And they're going to get some decent pressure here. Boom! Big hit right there coming in. And they are going to get Looney's Trinket with that Dressed Connect. And they are going to immediately run back to the pillar. So nice setup there from Coffin Dance. I mean, still, it's kind of likely that Looney's going to get his Trinket back. But, I mean, they could potentially try to set up a kill onto Looney if he pushes in. Let's see. Right now, Tran is in big trouble. Lontar's in a sheep. Well, how are they going to respond? Tran, very calm, cool, and collected. Trades out the Blur, trades out the Diffuse Magic. And now he's going to be ready to keep on trucking here. Coffin Dance stays alive.
Yeah. And it looks like Coffin Dance will be able to hold on and actually finding pressure on the Zipai. That was really important. They almost just completely blew him out of the water. Rezus pushing forward. Maybe they found their new target. I mean, going after Maro, it's not working out so well. It's really difficult for a Windwalker Monk to get significant burst on a Fire Mage. He can use Frost Nova to root your image. He can use Dragon's Breath to shut down your Fist of Fury. So at some point in the game, it might be good to switch, but a big setup coming in from Wildcard Gaming. Song of Chi-Ji onto Lontar. Tren gets the Darkness, a preemptive Darkness, keeping him alive. Beautiful plays, but it might not even matter. Tren might just fall. It's going to be Lontar treading out his Ascendance as well. I actually can't believe they had to use more. That was such a nice play by Trend, but the damage from Wildcard Gaming is quite high.
Yeah, Z-Pi every once in a while just gets overloaded and tosses out huge bursts, but a huge counter engagement. It's not enough to get cauterized 1 second away. Life Cocoon's are they not going to Life Cocoon either? Okay, Life Cocoon. Oh no, Trend stand up. Someone needs to do something. Lone Star trinkets out. Trend reverses, but they panic. No, they don't panic. Trend holds on to his Glaive's Medallion, overlaps the blur. They need to get back to the pillar. Just line of sight. I think doing those one taps actually on Z-Pi and dampening is a way for them to find victory. And now Wildcard Gaming are stuck out in midfield. Like, all right, you're at the pillar. If we push on you, we're going to take a lot of damage. How do we want to navigate this situation? Morrow takes to the right, Z-Pi on the left, pincering in Coffin Dance. They go after Z-Pi. Looney's in a good position, though, to heal him quite easily from midfield. Not going to find any momentum with that. They swap back to Morrow. Triple Dragons back, triple leg sweep. Big swap, maybe? Hex, follow up, but oh, Trinket stunned by Tren. Saves the day during that crowd control. Morrow gets blasted by Rezus. Looney gets interrupted. Tren jumps in. Temporal Shield activates. They go after Rezus. There's no Glaive's Medallions, though, for Lone Tar, Rezus, or Tren, so they can't escape crowd control. Looney has leg sweep, so if they stack up on the pillar, it could be a triple stun, and Tren could easily disappear from the upper bracket if this happens. Looney's in prison, though. They're trying to push Morrow down. Do they have enough damage to do so here? Dragon's Breath deflects some damage. Not enough. Looney's rolling in. He's on top of Lone Tar. Where's the stun lock onto Tren? They need crowd control on Rezus. Polymorph on Rezus, but they break up the chain, and they can't combo it together in time. Nice disruption by Coffin Dance, but they need to keep doing it. Still 40 seconds away from those medallions, and they could just get taken down from Z-Pi's pressure around the corner as well. They're leaving Z-Pi open right now. Morrow's taking a hit. Looney uses Life Cocoon. Looney still chasing down Lone Tar, getting ready. Leg sweep onto Lone Tar. Tren pre-metamorphosis, but doesn't hit the stun. Lightning Lasso, fully channeled. Big Earthshock connect afterwards. Is there a second one? Tren ducks recover with Lone Tar. Playing on a razor's edge right now. Trying desperately to take a reverse swing here against Wildcard Gaming.
Beautiful reverse magic there once again by Tren on about 10% HP there, kind of preventing certain death.
Whoa,
and
whoa.
Looney trinketing here to try to save Mars. He gets imprisoned DR, and they're going to force out Mars trinket, Looney's trinket, and the ice block in one push. Lontar now in a hex. They're trying to reverse the pressure back onto Tren. Morrow exits the ice block. Double Dragon's Breath coming out, and now swap by Z-Pi onto Lontar. Can they force something? Doesn't look like it. Morrow wasn't able to connect any real damage there. Double leg sweep now. Morrow in massive trouble. Can he get a hex out of this onto Looney or something to get a kick? If they have any more crowd control, they could easily just take Morrow down here, maybe at least proc the cauterize. Doesn't look like it. Looney is going to be free healing right now. He has Life Cocoon coming up in about 10 seconds, so full hex secured onto Lontar. Preemptive Earthen Wall Totem, though. Big Earthshock cracking Tren to about half HP. He leaps out, interrupts Morrow to break the CC chain. He's going to have reverse magic as well available. He has Blur coming up in 20 seconds. All of those Gladiators medallions are up. And Looney, look at him. He is getting sip after sip on that T. But Morrow, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Gets the Life Cocoon, traded for the Touch of Death, but it still hasn't ticked yet. Morrow could actually still be in a lot of trouble. Nice wind shear there by Lontar. He's going to thank a sheep as a result of it. Imprisonment coming out. Nice reverse magic. They couldn't get the capstone, though, onto Looney, and now they're looking to push Morrow over the edge, but Looney, no longer in crowd control, should be fine to stabilize in that situation. He gets wind sheared. Morrow gets kicked. Still in a little bit of trouble, but I don't think they have enough damp here to push Morrow over Looney's healing, even with those gushing, but still a lot of pressure so far coming out of Coffin Dance, and they have every defensive cooldown. They're looking like they're in the driver's seat right now as we see another leg sweep here coming out onto Morrow. A lot of damage coming out.
Ooh, Tren once again activating the darkness and the blur, so trading out a lot of defensive cooldowns, but it's going to be Morrow once again on the back foot. Nice wind shear there by Lone Tar. Looney falls a little bit behind, but now has caught up. Morrow's going to be full health as Rezus and Tren look to continue the push. Rezus, he's got Diffuse Magic, Fortifying Brew, basically everything he needs to continue this charge, as well as the Earthen Wall Totem. So Coffin Dance right now, they are on fire. They're dancing towards Morrow all game, looking to take him down, and still no ice block for another 2 minutes. 33% dampening, and things are not looking bad, but at any moment, Wildcard Gaming, they have the burst damage potential to completely turn this game around. Let's see if they're going to be able to do it, or if Coffin Dance can continue this assault.
Lontar is out in the midfield right now with his team, just getting ready to have to trade a Trinket Spirit Link maybe. He wants to be in range. Maro is stunned up, Looney is stunned up, but Life Cocoon activates. Trent's still in trouble, very low on health. He activates Blur, but Lontar needs to cast heals. He's got to deal with interrupts. This could be very stressful for Lontar to recover. Looney's Life Cocoon getting a lot of value. Triple stun! Nice punish by Looney. Song of Chi-Ji being channeled. Spirit Link has to be dropped. Oh no, everything is falling apart right here. If they don't kill Maro, they literally just have to push through right now and kill Maro. Otherwise, it's over. It might just be over right now. Full Hex onto Lontar. Lightning Lasso onto Tren. Big hit, no blur. Hex 1 second left. Lontar's finally out of crowd control, but there's no cooldowns, there's no darkness, there's no link. They got Earthen Wall coming up in one, but a double Ring of Frost, double reverse by Tren. Metamorphosis, Tren's going for it. Even though his team basically is working with nothing, they're going for it. Cauterize just about to get triggered. Imprison window trigger, that has to be a Cauterize. There's no way Maro's going to hold on to it. They get the Cauterize, they're pushing for the kill. There's nothing standing, Tren's going for it. Even though they've blown through everything, they're going for it on 10%. Looney gets interrupted by Tren. Tren jumps in, but he gets intercepted by Lightning Lasso. 1%! He gets intercepted on 1%! Is he actually going to die? He trades Blur on 1%, and Trent just can't believe he's still alive at this point, I think, trying to get back on target. Both teams managed to survive that.
What an incredible turn of events right there. The counter setup, the only reason why Mario's still alive, Zeepai taking control there with the Hex and the Lightning Lasso, and that is going to be it. Nice double Ring of Frost into the Lasso, and that is going to be it. I mean, Coffin Dance, they were about as close as you can get. Multiple sub 10% there on Zeepai, on Maro as well here at the end. They played a great game, but ultimately it is Wildcard Gaming taking the series 3-1.
Wow.
Well done by Coffin Dance, though. I mean, that looked